Hey YouTube, and welcome to my channel. My name is Geneva. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, we are going to go over applying for global entry for your child in 2025. So if you're interested in figuring out how to navigate the application, how long the process might take, and all the details that go with it, then please continue to watch. In this video, I'm sharing my experience on how I apply for global entry for my two children. I have a 17-year-old and also a 6-year-old. So I have two different age groups and their application is actually different. So I'm hoping that this video will be helpful for you. I did do a video last year of me applying for global entry. So if you want to know the whole entire process for an adult and all those requirements, I will be sure to have that video linked and also include it in the description below. So this video is going to focus on assuming that you, the parent, already have global entry and you are applying for your child that does not have global entry. So I want to make sure we're on the same page so you know exactly where I'm coming from with the information that I'm going to provide for you. And first up, I'll just do a quick overview in case you're interested in knowing what global entry is. But like I said, this video is tailored for the parents that already have it and they're looking to get it for their child. So we'll start with the first thing that you might be wondering about, and that's kind of essentially what is global entry and whether or not it's relevant for you and your child or your children. So global entry is a trusted traveler program that grants expedited customs clearance for pre-approved low-risk travelers entering the U.S. through dedicated security lanes or more than 75 airports. Essentially, if you have low risk, you don't have anything in your background that, may raise awareness about your security threat level to the United States, then it's an easy way for you to expedite going through customs. And for me, when I travel internationally, it is just a must-have because the line just goes, you're not standing in line, you're literally going to a kiosk and it's so quick to breeze through. I used it for the first time last year and I will not travel any other way. And also with me having it, I realized how important it is that I want my children to also have it because we travel internationally usually about 1 to 2 times per year. And if you don't have this, then you're waiting in the customs line. And I just want to avoid that. I don't like the long wait, especially if you have younger children. I think it would be a really big benefit because keeping them occupied and keeping them busy when you're in line proves to be a lot. And I'm impatient. They are too. They're younger. And even for your teenager, I think it would be beneficial because if you guys are traveling as a family, of course, you want everybody in the family to have it so you can quickly get through customs. Now that we've briefly gone over what global entry is, now I want to discuss the actual cost of it. So as of October of last year, the guidance changed and the cost of global entry increased to $120. However, with that increase, there came additional benefits if you are a parent. So now your child, if they are under the age of 18, you are able to get their global entry fee waived as long as you are pending through the application process or you are already a global entry member. So this is so beneficial because you're not paying for each individual person. All you have to do is if you have global entry, then your child, if they are under the age of 18, they will be able to get their global entry completely for free. How long is it good for? Maybe your next question. Global entry is, once you are accepted into the program, it is good for 5 years. Also with the pricing, another thing to know that if you have a travel credit card, and I explained this in my previous video, but I do want to mention it here. If you have a travel credit card that affords you the ability to get global entry for free, that does not change anything when you are applying for your child. It will still be free for your child, even though you technically didn't pay anything, but that's because the credit card company had granted you a credit when you went to do your application. So essentially for our family, it was free for everyone, so I could not pass this opportunity up. It was free for my husband. It was free for myself. We have 2 kids. It was free for all of them. So we saved a ton of money being able to get global entry through, having our credit card, but also with the policy change in October now that our children are free. And I also wanted to get it because I have a 17-year-old. I'm like, before you turn 18, let's go ahead and get this. So it's good for 5 years. So it helps him as he's an adult, and he won't have to get it again until, he's older and decides whether or not he wants it for himself, which I'm pretty certain he will. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into the actual application, which you are going to go to cbp.gov. Each person in your family that is applying for global entry will need their own separate account. It will need to be under separate email addresses as well. This is one of the things that I was not aware of. I was hoping because, I'm the parent, the guardian, that I could just create, especially the youngest one, I could just create an account for them under my account, but that is not possible. Each person has to have their own account tied to a separate email. So I just used a different email address that I had for my youngest, and then my eldest, he has his own email account. So we just use his email account for his actual account for his global entry application. So now that we are on the website, we have our email address, we're ready to create our account. You'll need to create a password. It has to be 12 characters. You will also need to add an authentication method. So it could be text or call, where you can include your telephone number, or if you have a security key, there's different methods that you can use for that. And then create an account profile matching your passport data. This is very important. All of your information has to match up with what is included on your passport. Once you create your account, I would recommend having all the documentation that you'll need in order to go through the application fairly quickly. You will need your child's passport. You will need your information, so your known travel number, your identification for your global entry membership. You will also need a listing of every place that you guys have traveled to, well, your child, because we're applying for your child right now. So every place that your child has traveled to internationally in the past 5 years. If your child is a teenager and they have their own license, you will need that information, also their travel information. And if they are a teenager and they are employed, you will need all of that information for the past 5 years, also including residency information. So where you guys have lived for the past 5 years, you'll need all of the address, the time frame, all of that information. Make sure you gather everything so that way it's just really easy when you're going through the application. Now, I don't know at what age this changes, but I'm assuming maybe, depending on the state, when you're able to get your permit, maybe 14, this changes. So we're just going to generalize and say at a certain point, if your child is younger, it's a 6-step application process. However, if they are a little bit older, it's going to be a 9-step application process. And let's go ahead and dig a little deeper into the different steps for the 2 different age groups. So the 6-step process for my youngest child, it was personal information, documents, address, travel history, additional info, and then the final process was the final review. Personal information, everything on his passport, making sure all the information was correct that you key in, because after you submit it, you cannot go back and change. So take your time, make sure all the numbers, everything is keyed in correctly. Documents, we used, of course, our passport in order to verify who he is, and then our address for the past 5 years we've lived in the same home. So that was pretty simple. Travel history, like I mentioned earlier, I had a list of all the places that we have traveled internationally, so that way it was just easy to go in and do that. And you don't need to provide it unless it's other than the US, Canada, and Mexico. Then there was a spot for additional information, background information. There was nothing for him, he's little. And you will also need the parent or guardian's pass ID or application ID. So when you're going through that step and you guys are all applying at the same time, once you get your application ID, you can use that in order for your child to get through their application and to get theirs for free. If you are already a Global Entry member, you will use that ID number, and there's going to be a section in the actual application that will ask you for your identification. You will provide that, and then that's how it will tie that child to you, and then they'll be able to get theirs for free since they are a minor. Then you're going to certify, and at the very end, it says certify and pay, but there will be a 0 balance. That way you don't have to pay anything. Now let's discuss the steps for my eldest child, so my teenager. The difference between his application and my youngest was just 3 things. So everything else was the same. The only thing that we needed to include that was additional was whether or not he had a driver's license, employment history, and also a vehicle information. So if you have all of that, make sure you gather that because you will need it for your eldest child. Okay, so after you've certified and submitted your application, what's the next thing to do? That is wait for your interview. You're waiting to get your conditional approval so that way you can schedule your interview. And for us, that came in 2 days. So my guys were conditionally approved in 2 days. It was a very seamless process, went fairly quickly. Once both of them had the email notification that their status had changed, I logged into the system and I was able to make their appointment. I decided to make 2 separate appointments because I could not get 2 appointments fairly quickly at the same time. So what I decided to do was make an appointment for my eldest child. I made his appointment. It was available on a weekend and I was like, ooh, perfect. It's on a Sunday. Don't have to worry about taking anybody out of school. It was great, but they only had that one appointment. So I decided, well, if the other one has conditional approval, I'm just going to take them both and see what happens. Now, I don't know if this is a possibility. I know each child needs an appointment. So for the youngest one, I did make him an appointment, but it was on a different day. So my eldest one had his on Sunday. The youngest one had his on Thursday, but I took them both to the Sunday appointment, hoping maybe they're both already conditional approved. They both have appointments. Maybe they could get a scene all at the same time. And that is exactly what happened. So if you have more than one child, you were able to search the system based on the number of appointments that you need. However, you cannot make both of their appointments at the same time under one account. It has to be under each separate account to make the appointment. But with that being said, I made both of their appointments. We went to Dulles, the airport this time. It was much busier than the location in DC, and it was really easy to get there. They will send you an email confirming your appointment after you select everything with detailed instructions on where to go. And it was so simple. I mean, everything was right there for you in the email, confirming your appointment time, your information, all the documents that you need to bring. Everything was included in the email confirmation that they give you. So with that being said, what do you need to bring to your interview? Although the appointment was for my children, I did still bring a utility bill, documents like bank statements for them that had their actual their name and their address on it. But most importantly, you need their passport. So passport, driver's license if they have it for the eldest one. And I always come over prepared. So I'm having all the documentation because I just don't want to get there and not have what I needed. But our appointment was so quick. We got there and they asked for passports for everybody to check in. I provided all that information, including my passport and my driver's license. They asked the kids questions, made sure they were who they were. They did fingerprints for both boys and took their picture, and we were in and out of there so quick. It was very, like I said, the whole entire process for Global Entry for myself and my family has been very smooth. So we were in and out of there in a matter of minutes, and then it was all done. That was it. So I was told that we should receive something within like the next few hours, letting us know that everything had been confirmed, and absolutely that is what happened. By the time we left there, grabbed something to eat, got back home, I want to say it was probably like, because there was traffic as well. So 2 hours later, we received an email letting us know that both of the boys, their status had been changed and they had been approved for Global Entry. And we received an email with that. And then when you log into the system, of course, you will see that as well. Okay, after we left the airport, we were just waiting for our actual card to arrive in the mail for the boys, and that took about a week and a half. You will receive an envelope, and in it, you will get your card in a sleeve that looks like this. It just says trusted traveler on it. And this is where you are going to house your global entry card. I keep all of ours in their own little sleeve for each of us. When you receive your card, you will need to log into the system and you will need to activate it. They're going to ask for a code that is located on the back of your card. It will have 2 letters and 2 numbers, and you will supply that in the little system where it says to verify that you receive your card here, and then you are all set. You are ready for your travel. That's how I apply for global entry for my children. If you are interested in applying for global entry for your child and you have questions about it, I would highly recommend going to cbp.gov and checking them out. It's a great resource. Any questions that you have, there is a frequently asked questions section that, something that you might be thinking of may have already been addressed. So definitely check that out. There's also a section where you can ask questions and someone will get back to you. I found such a great resource, a wealth of knowledge on there to answer any questions that you may have. If you found this video helpful at all, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to come back often. And if I didn't mention this earlier, my name is Geneva. I offer lifestyle content. So travel, beauty, fashion, whatever fun thing is going on in my life. So if you're interested in content like that, then please consider subscribing to my channel and coming back often. I will catch you guys in the next video. All right. Bye.